First, go back and take a look at our decade forecast. And take a look at all the previous annual forecasts we've done. And see how they've tracked. We do pretty well, but there are mistakes. Identify why those mistakes happened. And once you've rated yourself and the forecast on that, start laying out where the next year fits in the decade forecast and with the previous forecasts. We also have quarterly forecasts to update. So you have different levels of granularity in the forecast, and they all have to fit together and guide each other. So you have to be very familiar with what it is that's been said in the past and place this forecast in that continuum. In an annual forecast, we're going to be spending much more time on particular political questions. Who's going to win an election here? What the Russians are going to do in relation to the Chinese. In the decade forecast, we kind of take our eyes out of focus, if you will. And we get away from the details, we get away from the trees, and we really start looking at the forest. What are going to be the main trends that are going to dominate the decade? At the end of the decade, when you're going to look back on it, what are the things that you're really going to remember? And what are the things that are just going to pass away? And your goal here is not to paint a picture of every detail in the world, but to do the broad strokes of what's going to happen. The world is not linear. What goes up, what must come down. Sometimes there's a very long cycle, sometimes there's a much shorter one. But there's always an arrestor. Power, economic power, political power, military power is self-limiting. And some cases the limit comes faster rather than slower. The more enthusiastic people are about a particular trend, the more likely it is to end quickly, because they tend to notice later in the game. But we don't believe in lines. Those happen very, very rarely. We believe in cycles, and we believe in discontinuities. 9/11 was a discontinuity. It blasted into the system. Cycles are the decline of Japan. When everybody thought that it was going to rise forever, it didn't. So you look for cycles, you look for discontinuities, and you get very suspicious of straight lines.